Hello, fellow power connectors. This is going to be a quick but more thorough explanation of how to use Trello most effectively. So I'm going to go right through and I'm going to jump into the information associated with you personally. And probably the first thing you should do as you get into Trello here and start using it as a tool. And that's really the way you need to be thinking about Trello. This is the tool that we use to traffic information, to communicate with each other internally, and to tell each other about opportunities to meet with and get to know other professionals, these newbies as we call them. And that's what this list over to the left is those February newbies, March newbies are here in this list, and power connectors is where you really want to start. And these are actually listed alphabetically by first name. So I'll go into my particular card here. There's just a couple of us. And there's a bit of information like your company name, description. Oh, it looks like I need to edit that. And there are just a number of things that need to be done to make sure that you in fact are well understood and known by your fellow power connectors. And you want to put in things like your background information, other types of businesses that would be good partners, and so on and so forth. And so it's really important that you go in there and do that so that people can understand your perspective, your background, and what you're all about. The reason that you want to be able to do that is because when somebody pops up as a newbie, we want to, as fellow power connectors, be able to connect you with the right person. So for instance, Jeff Schnabel, Affordable Plumbing, has these particular people assigned to him: Andy, Brett Ryder, Dave Ahrens. Sorry if I said it wrong. Dave, apologize. And of course, Gary, and so on and so forth. You can see the information associated with each person that needs to be communicating with this newbie. And that's what this is all about, guys. This is all about using a tool that helps us drive relationship more than anything else. And so as a user, when you come in and you are thinking about somebody in particular, okay, and let's say, like for instance, I run into somebody who's an SEO expert and I want to add a card associated with this newbie, I would go ahead and click on that newbie card template, and you see when I click on that, this is considered the back of the card, right? And what I want to do is go ahead and copy that card, and I want to name it something, but for now I'll call it test, okay? And I can actually pick the position that I want this to be in this list. The position, right now it would go to position 1, which would be just above this newbie card template if I were to leave it where it's at now. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And I can actually pick from a drop down if I wanted to. I can make it go all the way to the bottom if I'd like. So there are a number of different ways to do that. But we also want to try and put these in alphabetical order. Eventually we'll get there. But what's important is as soon as you create this, it's copying all that information from those newbie cards. And what you want to do, if you're on your computer, is you want to go ahead and click on the members button here and start adding in those people that really should connect with this person, right? And if you just hover over something real quick, you'll see that their name pops up. And if you don't know these people, you probably should get to know them, and I'll talk about how to communicate with them inside Trello, okay? So you'll see that I assigned these different people, and those people will ultimately need some communication, right? And I would highly suggest that you not just assign them as a member, but you also send them a note, okay? Like if I wanted to send, and Andy's easy, he's one of the first ones here. If I wanted to send Andy a short message, I can say, oh no, I can't be yelling, that doesn't work. Simple enough, right? And if I go ahead and save that, he'll receive a message, and now he's going to give me a hard time. He's going to say, what? Why did you send me that? So I'm having a little fun with you there, Andy. But as we start building out this tool and understanding how comprehensive it is in terms of managing those relationships and communication, it's important to note that you don't need to have your information duplicated via email. In fact, with most of our clients, and we, for every single client project we have when building out websites, you'll see this big long list of clients. We use Trello for everything, and we have a strict rule that we don't communicate via email anymore. The reason for that is that why use multiple tools? There's no need for that level of redundancy, especially when email has become this silo for all things you don't want to do right now. It's much more preferable to have a system like Trello. And what's great about that is you can receive something that looks just like a text message when people send you a message. So that message that I sent to Andy, he can probably see that on his smartphone right now and look at it, and it looks just like a text message that comes through. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how that looks and feels. So if somebody were to send you a message, this bell at the top right, if you're on your computer, whether you're on PC or Mac, I'm on a Mac, but if you are on your computer inside the browser, and I'm using Chrome, you'll see this bell will turn a red, like an orangish red color. And you'll know that there is some sort of communication that you need to go in and take a look at. So if you click on that, like Gary has sent me messages, and other folks who are in here. These are some client communications for some websites that we're putting together. And you'll see that notification is there. You need to go look at it. But what's really neat is as soon as that pops up, if I click on that particular space, what ends up happening is it takes me directly to the card associated with that message. I don't have to go looking all around. So it's important that when you receive these notifications, especially on your smartphone, that you don't automatically just get rid of them. People have a tendency to just swipe as fast as they can, and then they're confused when they go back into Trello because they don't know where the person made that communication, where they commented or tagged them, right? And so it's important that either you go in right away or you go to that bell or that notification there and you take a look at, okay, who said what, and then click on it, and we'll pop up that window inside that specific card. It's really neat, super efficient. No need to reinvent the wheel using email and trying to manage this information that way. In fact, I would suggest you go in to your settings and turn off emails from Trello. Okay, that's for another video. What's most important is if you are a power connector and you become inactive, whether it's because of personal things or you're going on vacation or there's just something going on in your business and you need to scale back a little bit, then by all means, take your information, your card, move it over to the inactive power connectors list. And that's a very important thing that you need to do. Best practices, there's some information about what to do and how to do it. One thing that a lot of folks get confused with, and we're noticing this right away, is that if you're going to communicate, don't do things like add another card. There's no need to do that. You don't need to add a card and then start typing something in here like that doesn't really make sense because Bob should already be in here if he is a power connector and you're trying to communicate with him. Another thing that we're finding a lot of people have challenges with is they are trying to communicate with people like Jeff Schnabel. Jeff is not a part of Trello at all. So you can't send him a message using Trello, this specific Trello board, because he's not been invited here. Unless he transitions to becoming a power connector through that vetting process that some of the leaders have put in place, this person will never receive communication from the board itself. So it's important to keep that in mind. These people that are represented in these newbies lists are not part of Trello. Okay. Some of the upcoming events, it's pretty obvious if you just go right in here. We have already completed this training on the 15th, and you'll find that this is just going to be basic information, and slowly but surely we'll get rid of some of the older, more expired things. Also, training materials. you'll see that there's quite a bit in terms of Trello support and stuff like that as well, where I have a video that I linked here. It's a YouTube video, and you can go and look at another version of this, but this one is actually more in depth, this video that I'm recording now. Oh, look at that, communication with Sterling. If you want to communicate with me and you have some questions, then by all means, we can go ahead and do that. So let's feel free to communicate with me that way, or if you so choose, you can just go ahead and click on my card. By all means, you can do this. You can just click on my card. Where is it? Oh yeah, I moved it over here. And you can send me a message that way, or make sure to go in and click on that @ symbol and select me, right? Then start typing away so that I receive a message. But you can send your information to me that way. Now I'm going to get into the mobile side of things and show you what to expect and how to manage this information on a smartphone, because it's very important that you have the kind of flexibility you need to get this information all the time, everywhere, on whatever device you're using. So let's get right to that. Now I'm on my iPhone here, and I'm able to see all the same exact information. That's what's so great about this tool. There's so much flexibility to it. And as I go through and I check out these particular cards, you'll see that the process is a little bit different for doing things like adding a newbie, for instance. So if I click on newbie card template, on the top right, there's the 3-dot menu, and I go ahead and click on duplicate card. So the nomenclature is a little bit different, but it's pretty similar, right? So what it's done is it's actually created a brand new card, but it's copied all the same exact information from the newbie card template. So if I go ahead and I touch where the newbie card template name is at the top, you see the cursors there. I can delete that, and I can name this something else. So tester, test. And what you want to be able to do is kind of go through, provide their specific information, and from there you want to, once you've filled out their personal information, and make sure that you are following this checklist. Have you received information from this newbie to add them to the Front Range Power Connectors board? Is that okay for you to be doing that? Also, have they been added to the newsletter, Gary? Are they receiving all the great information that you send out? And we want to make sure that somebody hasn't already added them. There is a challenge with that. People aren't really looking down these lists to make sure this person isn't already in the list. So keep that in mind. You want to have all that in place. And from there, you want to be able to, in this little members area, if I touch on members, what you'll see is a big long list of all these people that I want to go ahead and add as members, these power connectors who are supposed to meet with and have one-on-ones with the newbies. So keep that in mind. This is very straightforward, but you need to have some perspective on this person's personal situation. Who are they? What are they about? What makes them tick? And how do we ensure that they are connecting with the right sorts of other networkers, right? So you need to be able to explain that as well in these areas that talk about who they are personally. It doesn't make sense to do something that's way too general. If there's no perspective whatsoever, then you're going to struggle to get enough people to meet with them and have any sort of passion about it. Because when you are thinking about, for instance, meeting with somebody who might be related to your industry, if someone mentions that, tester test here is a really great person, just started a company, and I met with them at Starbucks, that doesn't tell us anything. What we need to know is a little bit about their background. What kind of business do they run? What kind of people does it make sense for them to network with on a regular basis so that they can develop strong relationships that will hopefully result in mutual business? So keep those types of information in mind in the background as you are filling out these more comprehensive descriptions of who people are, okay? Don't make it weak. That's really my point. Don't let it be a weak description, okay? As you go through here, if you wanted to move something, for instance, let's say you're one of the power connectors, and oh, there we go. you want to go ahead, and I accidentally switched these out. You want to move stuff around. Wait, no, actually that was right. All I'm doing is I'm long pressing on that card and I'm shifting it around. This is pretty cool. And if I go to my card and I want to move it over, all I have to do is long press on my card. It'll work someday here. Stop making me look like an idiot. I promise. Of course, I've got the whole 3D touch thing, which doesn't help. Stinking iPhone. And I can move it over. I can even move it over to this list, but really if I want to go inactive for a while, I can very quickly long press and move it over. If you press too hard, what will happen if you have a iPhone 6s or greater, you'll get that 3D touch and it will give you the whole card will just open up, right? So keep that in mind. For Android, it looks a little bit different. It's actually a little cleaner. It's not so busy. You don't see such tiny cards throughout. It's a bit bigger and spans the entire screen there. So I actually prefer the look and feel on Android. But this is pretty straightforward, guys. If you're having trouble with this, it's okay. We expect that people are going to have challenges. You can actually send me messages here in this Communicate with Sterling list. Feel free to send me messages, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And I apologize, I wasn't subscribed to these particular cards, so I wasn't seeing messages come to me, but now I'll be able to go in, and some of you have already done a number of things here, and I'll be able to get back with you. So I hope you all enjoyed this and that it was helpful for you. There's obviously some things like training materials for networking coming up here, Trello support. This video will be stored in that Trello support card there. And as you go through, I would suggest you start just playing around, messing around. And you're going to have a lot of fun with this. If you start to adopt it and use it, you're going to see how efficient it can really be at helping you connect with other power connectors and improve the lives of newbies. I'll talk to you all soon.